Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful brown bear. She lived all alone in her very tidy cave. But one fine spring morning, there was a commotion outside, and suddenly a whole pack of wolves loped into her cave. "Arr, arr, arr," they said, and they circled her, and they circled her. She was so afraid, her paws started shaking, and her teeth started chattering. But before she could say anything, there were two more shapes that came hurtling into her cave. One of them, she was happy to notice, was her brother, a big black bear. The other was a grayish swan. She couldn't take her eyes off this swan. She just looked at him, and he looked back. "Arr, arr," said the Papa Wolf, the leader of the wolves. "What are you doing here?" They all had their fangs bared, and they were circling, and they were circling. But then the brave grayish swan stepped forward into the circle, and he opened his beak, and he said, "We beg your pardon, gentlemen. We didn't mean to upset you. We mean you no harm, and please don't hurt us. We're just trying to find my sister, the beautiful white swan." The minute they heard that, all the wolves were still. And then all at once they said, "Arr, arr, we're trying to find the beautiful white swan too. Arr." said the big black bear. "Oh, well, I'm so relieved. We're all in this together. Why don't we make a pact and we can find the beautiful white swan all together?" They all thought that was a very good idea, so they all put one paw into the circle, except for the swan, who put one wing into the circle, and they all vowed to work together to find the beautiful white swan. "Oh," said the bear, "I am so happy. Let's celebrate. I happen to have some very good cocoa berries. Let's go into the den and have some fun." They all thought this was a very good idea, and they all trotted out after him. And this left, sitting alone, the beautiful brown bear and the brave grayish swan. The bear stared at the swan's beak and said, "I'm so sorry about your sister. I always liked that beautiful white swan." And the swan stared into her big brown eyes and said, "Thank you. I miss her. I do feel alone." And she looked at him and said, "I feel alone too." Suddenly, he took his beak and he grabbed on to her big bare paw, and this made her so happy. They sat next to each other, and she thought of summer days and blueberries, and he thought of summer days and swimming slowly around a beautiful clear pond. And then suddenly, ouch! She screamed. He had inadvertently clamped down on her paw and broken off one of her claws. Suddenly, there was another commotion, and down the hall came a huge hyena. He came, and as the bear was saying, "Don't," he knocked the grayish swan out. The swan woke up and opened his eyes. He was all alone. He missed the bear, but she wasn't there. He heard voices, and then he saw shadows coming toward him down the hall. Where was his friend the bear, he wondered? Where was she?